She appeared in his room without a sound. No flash, no warning, no hum of machines. One moment the small room was empty except for a man sitting on the edge of his bed, reading a maintenance report on a flickering tablet. The next moment she was there, already seated on the mattress behind him, as if she had always belonged there. He did not notice her at first. The room itself was ordinary by station standards. White walls with light gray seams, a narrow bed fixed to the floor, a small desk bolted near the wall, and a single viewport showing the slow drift of stars outside. It was the kind of room meant to be forgotten the moment you stepped out of it. That suited him just fine. He was an ordinary human, and ordinary places made him comfortable. She watched him quietly. She was not human. That much would have been obvious if he had turned around. Her shape was close enough to be familiar, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, but nothing else quite matched. Her skin carried a soft, shifting color, like moonlight reflected on water. Her eyes were large, dark, and far too focused, as if they were not just seeing him but listening as well. She sat with perfect balance on the edge of his bed, hands resting on her knees, posture calm and relaxed. Then she spoke. "I found you." The voice was gentle, clear, and precise. It carried an accent he could not place, yet the words were perfect standard trade. He startled so badly that the tablet slipped from his hands and clattered onto the floor. He spun around, heart pounding, and stared at her. For a long moment neither of them moved. "Who?" he started, then stopped. His mouth was dry, his thoughts tangled. "How did you get in here?" She tilted her head slightly, studying him. "I followed my instincts. They led me straight to you." That did not help. He stood up slowly, keeping his distance. He had no weapon. Civilians were not allowed them on the station. His mind raced through a dozen emergency protocols, all of which required an alarm he could not reach without moving closer to her. "This is a restricted area," he said, grasping at routine. "You can't just appear in private quarters." "I can," she replied calmly. "I did." She glanced around the room, her eyes lingering on small details. The half-folded blanket, the cup of cooling nutrient drink on the desk, the cracked corner of the viewport frame. It was the look of someone taking in information, not admiring it. "You are not afraid enough," she said. He blinked. "I think I'm afraid plenty." "No," she replied softly. "Your pulse is elevated, but your thoughts are not running toward escape or aggression. Most species would already be shouting or attacking." "I'm human," he said. "We pause first." Her eyes brightened slightly at that. "Yes," she said, "that is what they said." "Who is they?" he asked. She looked back at him fully now. "The others who failed to find the answer." That sentence sent a chill through him. "Look," he said, raising his hand slightly. "If this is a prank or some kind of experiment, I'm really not important enough." "You are important," she interrupted. The certainty in her voice made him stop. "My name is not in any record that matters," he continued more quietly. "I move cargo schedules. I fix mistakes in supply chains. I'm not special." She smiled then. It was a small, strange expression, but unmistakably a smile. "That is exactly why you are special." She stood up. He tensed, every muscle ready to run. She noticed and stopped, giving him space. "Do not worry," she said. "I did not come to harm you." "Everyone says that," he muttered. "I know," she replied. "And many of them lie. I am not." She walked slowly around the room, careful not to move too fast. Her steps made no sound. "My species does not use machines to navigate possibility," she said. "We do not calculate futures, we feel them." "That sounds vague," he said. "It is precise," she replied, "but not rigid." She stopped in front of the viewport and looked out at the stars. "For thousands of cycles, the galaxy has relied on prediction," she continued. "Every major decision is guided by probability engines. Wars are avoided, crises are smoothed, outcomes are managed." "Sounds efficient," he said. "It is," she agreed. "And it is fragile." She turned back to him. "Something is coming that cannot be predicted." That got his full attention. "What kind of something?" he asked. "An event," she said. A shift, a collapse of certainty. That's still vague, she nodded, because language struggles with it. Imagine standing on solid ground your entire life, then discovering the ground was never solid at all. He swallowed. And this has something to do with me, he asked. Yes. Why? She stepped closer, stopping a few feet away. He could see faint patterns moving beneath her skin now like slow currents. Because humans do not fit, she said simply. Fit where? Anywhere, she replied. He laughed nervously. That's not true. We fit just fine. We've been part of the galactic community for decades. She shook her head. You are present, but you are not integrated. What's the difference? You comply, she said, but you do not converge. He frowned. You're going to have to explain that. She considered him for a moment, then nodded. Most species, when faced with the unknown, respond in predictable ways, she said. They choose safety, stability, survival of the whole. Humans do not. That's not fair, he said. We care about survival. You care about meaning, she corrected, even when it costs you. He had no answer to that. She moved back and sat on the bed again, this time more casually, as if the room truly belonged to her. I was sent to find the anomaly, she said, the point where every instinct path went silent. And that point is me, he asked. Yes. Congratulations to me, he said weakly, her eyes softened. I know this is overwhelming, she said, but understand this, I did not choose you. I followed what could not be ignored. She placed a hand lightly on her chest. For the first time in my life, my instincts did not point to a place or a result. They pointed to a person. That made his breath catch. Outside the room, a faint vibration ran through the station. He barely noticed it, but she did. They are already adjusting, she said quietly. Who is they now? He asked. The ones who do not like uncertainty, she replied. The lights flickered once. His tablet on the floor buzzed with an incoming system alert. She stood again. We cannot stay here, she said. Wait, he said. You can't just drop all of this on me and expect me to. I can, she said gently. And I must. She met his eyes. Because whether you choose to come with me or not, she said, the galaxy has already begun to react to your existence. The alert on his tablet grew louder. Security protocols were activating. He looked at the door, then at her. I don't even know your name, he said. She smiled again. You may call me what you like, she said. Names are less important than choices. She extended her hand toward him. For now, she added, you only need to decide one thing. What's that? He asked. She waited. Whether you remain an ordinary human, she said, or become the reason the future finally changes. The station lights dimmed. The stars outside seemed closer than before. And for the first time in his quiet, ordinary life, he realized that being unnoticed might no longer be an option. He took her hand. The moment his fingers touched hers, the room seemed to loosen, as if reality itself had been holding its breath. There was no pain, no flash, no feeling of being pulled apart. Instead, it felt like stepping sideways while standing still. The room was gone. They stood in a narrow corridor made of smooth, dark material that reflected light without acting like a mirror. Soft lines glowed along the walls, pulsing slowly, like a calm heartbeat. The air smelled clean and faintly metallic. He staggered more from confusion than motion, and she steadied him. Breathe, she said gently. Your body arrived before your mind. That's comforting, he muttered, forcing air into his lungs. Next time maybe warn me before reality disappears. There may not be a next time like this, she replied. That did not help either. He looked around. Where are we? A fold space passage, she said. Temporary, unstable, safe for a short time. How short? She paused. Short. He rubbed his face with both hands. Okay, okay. I was in my room 10 seconds ago, and now I'm not. You say the galaxy cares about me for reasons I don't understand, and now we're hiding in a hallway that doesn't exist. She watched him carefully. You are processing faster than expected, she said. I'm panicking efficiently, he replied. That made her smile again, and he noticed it came more easily now. They began walking. The corridor seemed to stretch ahead of them without changing shape. He had the strange feeling that distance here was more of an idea than a fact. "You said others failed," he said. "Failed how?" She folded her hands behind her back as she walked. "My people were not the first to notice the instability," she said, "but we were the first to trust instinct over calculation." "And the others?" he asked. "They trusted certainty," she replied. "They sent observers, analysts, artificial minds. All of them searched for a cause they could measure. And they didn't find one. They found too many," she said. "Every answer contradicted the next." Probability engines began disagreeing with themselves. He frowned. "That sounds like bad data." "It is worse," she said. "It is data becoming irrelevant." They reached a wider space, like a small chamber. The walls here showed faint images, shifting shapes that reminded him of star maps and flowing numbers, though none of it was clear enough to read. She stopped. "This is where I realized something was wrong," she said. "My instincts led me here again and again, but there was nothing to find. No place, no event. Just me," he said quietly. "Yes." He leaned against the wall, needing something solid, even if this place wasn't truly solid. "I still don't get it," he said. "Why humans? Why not some advanced species with better tech?" She turned to face him fully. "Because technology seeks control," she said, "and the future can no longer be controlled." She raised a hand and the shapes on the wall shifted. Images formed more clearly now. Scenes of alien cities, vast stations, peaceful trade routes. "For centuries, balance was maintained because the future behaved," she said. "Outcomes followed patterns. Choices stayed within limits." The images began to blur and split, showing multiple versions of the same scene diverging wildly. "Now the limits are breaking," she continued, "and humans are at the center of every fracture." "That's not fair," he said again. "We didn't do anything." "You existed," she replied. He let out a slow breath. "So what happens now?" Her expression grew serious. "Now the galaxy must decide whether to adapt," she said, "or to remove the source of uncertainty." His stomach tightened. "You said they don't want to kill me." "Death is inefficient," she said. "Control is preferred." "That's worse," he said. "Yes," she agreed. The corridor shuddered slightly. A distant hum echoed like pressure building. "They are searching," she said. "Not for us, for probability." He straightened. "Meaning?" "They cannot track instinct," she said, "but they can track disruption. And I'm disruptive." "You are incomparable," she corrected. They moved again, faster now. The corridor bent gently, curves appearing where none had been before. "Why are you helping me?" he asked suddenly. "Really?" She slowed but did not stop. "Because my instincts did something unprecedented," she said. "They failed." "That doesn't sound like a reason." "It is everything," she replied. She stopped and turned to him. "My people believe instinct is truth," she said, "not guidance. Not suggestion, truth. When it broke, I had a choice." "What choice?" "To report failure," she said, "or to follow what remained." "And what remained was me," he said. "Yes." He searched her face. "And what happens if you're wrong?" She held his gaze. "Then I will have chosen," she said, "for the first time." The corridor ended in a circular opening that looked like a dark pool suspended in air. "Where does that go?" he asked. "Somewhere they are not looking," she said, reassuring. She stepped through first and vanished. He hesitated only a second before following. They emerged into a vast space filled with quiet light. It looked like a garden made of energy, floating platforms, soft glowing forms like trees made of mist, gentle streams of light flowing between them. He stared. "This is beautiful. This is a neutral convergence zone," she said, "built long ago before prediction ruled everything." "Of course it was," he said. They walked along one of the platforms. The surface responded softly under his feet, firm but warm. "You're calm," she observed. "I think my brain gave up," he replied. "This is all officially too much." She seemed to understand. In the distance, figures moved, beings of many shapes and sizes, none paying them much attention. "Others hide here?" he asked. Those who do not fit neatly, she said. Artists, philosophers, species that never fully aligned. He smiled faintly. So misfits. Yes, she said, they admire humans. That's new. They find you confusing, she added, and hopeful. Before he could respond, a ripple passed through the light streams. The atmosphere shifted, becoming tense without sound. She froze. They have adapted, she said quietly. To what? To you being unpredictable, she replied. A presence settled over the space, not physical but heavy, like a tension made solid. A voice spoke, not aloud but directly into his thoughts. It was calm, layered, and distant. Human individual probability variance detected. Please remain stationary. He staggered, clutching his head. I don't like that, he said through clenched teeth. She placed a hand on his arm. Do not answer. The voice continued. You are required for stabilization. Cooperation will ensure continuity. He forced himself to stand upright. No, he said aloud. The presence paused, clarify refusal. I don't consent, he said. You don't get to decide what I'm for. Around them, the light garden dimmed slightly. She watched him with something like awe. Human refusal acknowledged, the voice said, adjusting parameters. The pressure increased. She stepped forward. This is enough, she said clearly. You cannot calculate what you do not understand. There was a long silence. Understanding is not required, the voice replied. Compliance is sufficient. That's where you're wrong, the human said. He didn't know where the courage came from. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was simply human stubbornness. You built a system that only works if everyone follows the rules, he said. But the universe doesn't care about your rules. The pressure wavered. Probability conflict detected, the voice said. He took a step forward. I don't know how this ends, he continued. Neither do you, and that scares you. The presence withdrew slightly, like a tide pulling back. Instability increasing, it warned. Good, he said. The garden brightened again. The distant beings began to stir, watching openly now. The presence faded, retreating without another word. Silence returned. He exhaled shakily. Did I just talk back to whatever that was? Yes, she said softly. And we're still alive. Yes. She looked at him as if seeing him for the first time all over again. You did not follow instinct, she said. You chose defiance. He laughed weakly. Is that bad? No, she said. It is human. Far away, unseen systems recalculated futures that no longer held still. And for the first time, the galaxy began to understand that uncertainty was not a flaw. It was a beginning. The quiet did not last. At first, it felt peaceful, like the universe had decided to leave them alone. The light garden slowly returned to its gentle glow. The flowing streams of light softened, and the distant beings went back to their quiet movements. It would have been easy to believe that the danger had passed, but the alien woman did not relax. She stood still, her eyes focused on nothing visible, her body tense in a way that told him she was listening to something deeper than sound. They are not gone, she said softly. He sighed and sat down on the edge of one of the glowing platforms. I didn't think they would be. They are changing strategy, she continued. They rarely retreat without learning. Great, he said. So now they've learned I'm difficult, she looked at him. They learned something far worse. He raised an eyebrow. Do I want to know? They learned that you can influence outcomes without tools, she said. Without permission. He leaned back, staring up at the soft, shifting light above them. I didn't do anything special, he said. I just said no. She sat beside him, leaving a careful space between them. That is what makes it special, she replied. For a while they said nothing. The garden hummed quietly around them like a place that remembered a different kind of future. Eventually, she spoke again. There is a council, she said, a convergence of major civilizations. They will meet soon. To talk about me, he guessed. To talk about humanity, she corrected. He sat up. That's worse. Yes, she agreed. They'll want control, he said. Limits, rules. They already do, she said. But now they are afraid those will not work. He rubbed his hands together, thinking. So what happens if they decide humans are too dangerous? She met his eyes. Then the galaxy will try to shape you. He swallowed. And if we resist, then the galaxy will have to change, she said. That idea hung between them, heavy and impossible. I never asked for this, he said quietly. I know, she replied. She stood and offered him her hand again. There is something you must see, she said. Is it another place that doesn't exist? He asked. Yes. He sighed and took her hand. This time the transition was gentler. The light garden faded, replaced by a wide chamber filled with floating shapes. These shapes were clearer now, projections of futures branching and overlapping like tangled threads. He stared in awe. These are possibilities, she said, or what remains of them. Some threads were smooth and stable, others were jagged, broken, or fading away. He noticed something strange. Why are so many blank? He asked. Those are futures the systems can no longer predict, she said. And they all start around the same point, he said slowly. Yes, she replied. Human contact, he said. She nodded. You destabilize certainty, she said, not through force but through choice. He looked at one thread that showed humans spreading through space, not as rulers but as neighbors, helpers, troublemakers, thinkers. That one looks hopeful, he said. It frightens them, she replied. Before he could respond, the chamber darkened. The presence returned, stronger this time, no longer hiding its attention. Human representative, the voice said, you have been designated a focal variable. I don't represent anyone, he said. Correction, the voice replied. You represent unpredictability. That's not something you get to assign, he said. The shapes around them began to shift faster, futures collapsing and reforming. Continued instability will result in systemic failure, the voice warned. Or growth, he replied. Silence followed. Then something unexpected happened. Other presences appeared. Not voices like the first, but many minds, layered and diverse. Species that had remained quiet, watched carefully, and now stepped forward. We have lived under certainty for too long, one presence said. We were never asked if we wanted perfection, said another. Humanity reminds us of error, choice, and change. The chamber brightened as more futures stabilized, not clean, not perfect, but alive. The original presence hesitated. Consensus is shifting, it said. Good, the human replied. The alien woman stepped forward. My instincts were never meant to rule, she said. They were meant to guide. Humans do something better, they choose even when afraid. She turned to him. You have already changed the outcome, she said. Not by fighting, by refusing to be reduced. He felt a strange calm settle over him. What happens now? He asked. The voices spoke together. Humanity will not be controlled, they said. It will be observed, engaged, and learned from. On whose terms? He asked. There was a pause. Mutual terms, the voices replied. The chamber dissolved. He found himself back in his small room on the station. The bed, the desk, the viewport, all unchanged. His tablet lay where it had fallen, silent now. For a moment he wondered if it had all been a dream. Then he noticed her standing by the window. So, he said, was that real? She smiled. Reality is adjusting. He sat down on the bed, feeling very human and very tired. What about you? He asked. What happens to you now? I am no longer an envoy, she said. I chose uncertainty, he nodded. Welcome to the club. She sat beside him, not because instinct demanded it, but because she wanted to. Outside, the stars seemed a little less distant. Somewhere across the galaxy, prediction systems rewrote themselves to allow space for mistakes, for courage, for choice. Humanity did not conquer the future. It simply reminded the universe that the future was never meant to be decided in advance. And for the first time, the galaxy moved forward, not knowing exactly where it was going, but willing to find out together.